I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Thursday, June the 13th, 2013. French news agency AFP reports that United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has now asked Austria to postpone its withdrawal of peacekeeping troops from the region along Israel's border with Syria in the Golan Heights. Ban spokesperson Martin Nierski said specifically the UN formally requested Austria to complete the withdrawal of its personnel no earlier than the end of July to ensure a smooth transition with incoming troop contributing countries and a continued UN presence in critical UNDOF, UN disengagement observer force positions such as Mount Hermon. As we reported to you yesterday, the UN chief had expressed concern over Austria's withdrawal and the impact it could have on the Syrian-Israeli ceasefire. Austria began removing its peacekeeping troops earlier this week as a result of increasing spillover from the Syrian civil war into the area. Ynet reports that United States State Department spokeswoman Jennifer Psaki said that the U.S. government would not accept any new Israel construction in the settlements, referring to reports regarding the Israeli government's decision to approve additional building in the West Bank, specifically in the settlement of Itamar. That construction was apparently approved before Israel's election in January by then Defense Minister Ehud Barak. Psaki said that the American government will not accept the legitimacy of the building and called for a return to the negotiation table. The Jerusalem Post reports that the Palestinian Authority said they object to and will not permit any change on the part of Israel to Jerusalem's Western Wall. Palestinian Authority Religious Affairs Minister Mahmoud El-Khabash told the Jerusalem Post in Ramallah this morning any changes in Haram al-Sharif, Temple Mount, is unacceptable to the Palestinians and Arab side. He said it's a change of our heritage site, and I believe such changes may push all of us to new conflicts and problems. Khabash was referring to changes that Jewish agency head Natan Sharansky has proposed to the entrance to the Temple Mount in order to allow for the building of an egalitarian prayer area at the Western Wall. Khabash said any change in the status quo regarding the Temple Mount would only create more conflict and must wait until a final status agreement between Israel and the Palestinian Authority. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had told Sharansky to meet with National Security Advisor Yaakov Amidror to deal with issues like how to handle moving the Mughrabi Bridge, which leads to the Temple Mount. Khabash, who is a former member of Hamas and supports the two-state solution, also told journalists today that he would agree with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu that there should be peace talks without preconditions, but only, he said, if the Prime Minister gave guarantees that the talks would not fail like in the past. The U.S. House of Representatives Armed Service Committee tripled President Obama's request for missile defense collaboration with Israel. The increase in the National Defense Authorization Act from $96 million to $284 million was referred from the committee to the full House, who is expected to consider it this week. The resolution also includes an additional $15 million in funding for Israel's Iron Dome, the short-range anti-missile program Israel used against Hamas last November during the conflict with Gaza. The stipulation in that increase, in an amendment proposed by Republican Representative Joe Heck of Nevada, is that it may be obligated or expended for enhancing the capability for producing the Iron Dome short-range rocket defense program in the United States, including for infrastructure, tooling, transferring data, special test equipment, and related components. Israel up until now has kept propriety over Iron Dome, but several U.S. lawmakers would like to get the United States involved in its development. And finally, Israel's Ben Gurion University of the Negev, located in Beersheba, graduated its first class of Israeli and Jordanian students who completed a special joint emergency medicine bachelor's degree program this year. The first graduating class at the Israel-Jordan Academic Emergency Medicine Collaboration included 54 graduates who spent 3 years studying emergency medicine and medical response, in what officials hope will increase Israeli and Arab cooperation in the event of natural disasters and other emergencies in the region. Dr. Mohammed Al-Hadid, who is president of the Jordanian Red Crescent, is one of the founders of the program. He worked together with Professor Jimmy Weinblatt, a former rector at Ben Gurion, and Professor James Torchiner, director of the Middle East Program in Civil Society and Peace Building at McGill University, to establish the new program. In his congratulatory address at the ceremony, Al-Hadid said, "I thank you for all giving our students the opportunity to get their education and training them to become lifesavers, unlike those life takers who do so in the name of their fanatic beliefs. However, our belief will always be through humanity to peace." Funding for the program came from the European Union Partnership for Peace program, the Israeli Ministry for Regional Cooperation, Mashav, Israel's Agency for International Development Cooperation, as well as private donors, which covered the Jordanian students' tuition costs and living expenses in Beersheba. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Thursday, June the 13th, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.